Look at me. Different hat. Same shit. I'm going to work on a little project this time. Little bit of fabrication, but more modification. There's something with this part right here, well, just kind of the fitment between this part and that part, that's kind of been bugging me, and I'll show you why and what I'm going to do to finally address it. I feel like I'm finally getting back into the groove of working on things in the summer here. Can only mow the yard so many times and grill so many hot dogs, so feels good to be doing some more work again, finally. So I'm going to show you what I got going on, and then we'll see what I'm going to change. So you've probably seen at one point in one of my videos how I made that seat pan. So the seat pan is actually separate from the forward seating tank, and this is aluminum. Like I said, I'm a metal worker, not a fiberglass worker, but it's actually really nice and solid, and it's pinned. There's two pins here, so this can't slide back. So it's pinned into the subframe. So it's actually a pretty little rigid unit here. But this is a 05-06 tank that I turned into a tank shell, and it sits on a mount down here that, if you look, there's a height difference there, about a ½ inch. And the reason that exists is because I made all of this stuff after this was already painted. And as you can see, the tank shell already sits right along the frame here. So I couldn't actually move this tank shell any lower. That's just kind of the height that it ends up at. Well, I decided that since I like to cut into things and make stuff work, I'm going to take the subframe off the bike, and where this mount is, I'm going to lower that mount a ½ inch, and I'm just going to go ahead and trim the tank. We're to the point now where it doesn't much matter. There's a little bit of some paint chipping going on anyways, but at some point I'd like to get maybe a carbon shell or a carbon fiber shell, just because they look cool. I really don't care if it makes it faster or not. I think it'd be kind of cool looking. Anywho, that's what we're going to address. We're going to get this little step right here where I keep getting my nutsack stuck in. Yeah, my nutsack's small enough to fit in there. But anyways, yeah, we're going to fix this issue, and then we'll do a little zip modifying there, and maybe do a little welding while we're at it. So I figured since I got to pull the tail section off the bike, we'd have a little fun doing it. And I got all the tools I need to get the tail off my bike. Got a washer. So I thought it'd be kind of fun timing me for no other reason than let's see how fast we can get the tail section off my bike. So you guys count it out. Ready? Go! Did you count? I feel like you weren't counting. But anyway, we're ready to roll. Again, I apologize if that's making noise, but it's freaking hot outside. We're getting to about, it's almost 8 o'clock at night, and it's still like 85 degrees out and humid as hell. But we're gonna keep pushing forward here. Here's my subframe in all of its glory. I've broken this thing no less than 4 times because I feel like I maybe exceed the weight limit of it. Who's to judge? Probably you guys. Go ahead. But this is what we're working with. So I've reinforced and kind of, the subframe was made to work with a stock 03 tank with the hinge still. So this whole area has been worked over by me. And then I added this as part of the stop for the seat pan that's pinned into that. And then I fabricated a little overflow catch can for the crankcase, and I kind of modified this to make my tail mount work. Anywho, it's probably heavier than it needs to be, but this is what this is going on here. So that is what my tank sits on. Those guys go down, lock in, and then I got it all braced up underneath to support my weight. So what we're going to do is get this out of the way for now. And what I need to do is get the subframe off the bike, and what I'm probably going to do is straight up cut right through here. I'm going to cut that top plate off because I want to be able to save those 2 mounting holes, and then I am going to cut a straight ½ inch right off all of this And then I'm gonna clean that all up, bring that plate down, and weld it back together. But before I weld it, I'm gonna kind of get it in place and mock it up, and then I'm gonna start trimming the tank. So I'll get the tank trimmed while this is still not welded, and then what I'll do is get the tank kind of, it's pinned in the front still. I'll get the tank on here and sitting kind of where I want it, and I'll move this piece around with it pinned to the tank, how it would be mounted, and then we'll get a tack weld in there, because I'll be able to reach this area right here. I'll be able to reach that with the tank still on it. So I'll just take my little welder in the corner there and let's get a little zap on that, and then we'll get her welded back up. I don't think I'm gonna get that far tonight, but I can probably get the subframe off and get this cut, and then we can maybe start fresh tomorrow night. This should only be a couple day project, with this being Sunday, tomorrow being Monday. I can probably finish it up after work. So we'll try to get all of our prep work done tonight, and then tomorrow will be the fit and finish, and tomorrow night maybe I can paint it and get it baking in the oven again, and get that wrinkle finish back on there. But that's our project. Let's get going. I'm starting to think maybe I thought things out when I built this bike, because that came off about as fast as the old tail section did. But now I'm going to go ahead and do my zip cut and get this thing ready to be right. I got the subframe back on the bike. I got the pads where the tank mounts to, or it's cut off. I cleaned them up already, so that would be ready to tack back together. I decided to go with, since I'm redoing this piece, I'm going to make it out of slightly thicker aluminum this time, because I do remember a few different times that I can recall anyways, that these ears were getting bent a little bit from my weight. It's only 1/8 inch aluminum. This is 3/16. So we're just going to go slightly bigger. Again, we're going to add some weight, but who cares? I'm heavy and I need sturdy. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of duplicate that part onto this new aluminum. And then I'm not going to drill the holes yet, but that'll make it a lot easier. It's just going to be easier starting from scratch with this particular part. Once I get the tank on and this new piece cut, I can just mark the holes of where those Zeus fasteners are going to go. So I'm actually probably going to be saving time by making a new piece as opposed to reworking that one. So we'll get going on cutting this out now. So I got my piece made. I didn't really film that because it's just me cutting, grinding, and sanding. But if you're ever making a piece that's got kind of a consistent shape to it, a little trick, maybe you guys have done this, whatever. Trace half your pattern. I roughed this in. Get it halfway close to where you want it, trace it out, flip it over, trace the other side. I got a little center line here I was following. Trace the other side out, and you got two symmetrical sides. So just a quick, easy little, half template kind of trick. But now it's getting to be, we're pushing on to 9 o'clock here, and I'm getting tired. But I think what I'm going to do is, I got this fit pretty good. I think all I'm going to do is make sure we're sitting pretty square. I got her pretty good underneath there. I think what I'm going to do is fire up the old Everlast here, and I'm just going to put a tack right in the middle. And then I'll be able to actually maybe tweak that side to side if need be. But I just want to get a tack on that and then put it on the bike and put the tank on it and just set the tank on here and see if I need to adjust this angle at all. I just want this surface, stay. Okay. I just want this top surface to be as flat as possible to what the bottom of the tank is. So we're going to do a little tack and then a little fit up. Okay, so we're moving right along here. I got my piece tacked in here. I went ahead and just removed the Zeus fasteners out of this tank shell just entirely. It's just going to make it easier once I get the once I get the tank centered and trimmed. It'll make it easier to just mark them holes, drill it, and reset them. So that's not a big deal. But what we need to figure out is right now, we're hitting the frame pretty hard because we're a half inch lower than we used to be. And you can see it's actually trying to push it off center. So what I need to do is figure out roughly where it's going to be centered here, left to right, and then I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to lay the Sharpie on the frame and give me a mark all the way down here. And I got the tie rods for my plenum right there, so I might have to run just a little notch where those are to get this to sit centered, but not a big deal. We're doing race bike shit, so whatever. So for now, I'm going to work on, I just tripped and almost fell. I'm going to work on getting this centered, and I'm going to make my cuts. So we're going to still get going with the mock-up. We've killed exactly 15 minutes. I'm watching the clock because it's Sunday night, and I'm hot. I've been trying to beat the heat all day, and I'm a sweaty mess. So I want to go in the air conditioning, but we're going to get to a point where we're comfortable stopping. I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight, and you won't believe it, but I'm going to show you anyways. I set the tank on there. I trimmed what I thought was going to be enough on each side, and it worked. First try, 2 cuts. I'll even show you my scraps. Okay, so I made a little trim. Okay, but 2 cuts, 1 off each side, and then that was after I trimmed it and sat down. I noticed it touched in one little corner, so I just trimmed a little bit off there, but it worked. So when we got this thing on here, and what I'm looking at for centering is there's a weld in the frame here. I'm just trying to look to see where the tank overlaps that weld on the frame on each side. And then I don't know that when this was a fuel tank, I think it was a catalyst. I don't know how close their molds are, but I'm guessing the frame is symmetrical, but this tank does not follow the same on both sides. So I'm guessing there's just irregularities. Regardless, it looks good. We got her centered, and then I got my little tack in the back, and you can see if you look in these holes, my plate is under there, and I can bend it up just a little bit to be flat. So I had my angle of that plate just about right. We're just gonna bump the front edge up just a little bit, and I'll be able to fill that with weld. But altogether, I think we're looking pretty good as far as how it fit trim wise. So it's now that it's actually sitting lower in the back. That second trim was for back here. Just bumped the subframe right there. But I think we'll be sitting pretty good. And just for reference, we'll grab my seat pan. And we'll set this on here quick. So there's still going to be a gap here because just how things laid out to be able to get things apart, but much better. So now I won't feel that step in there. So I dropped, I won't say I dropped my seat position a 1/2 inch, because for the most part my fat ass sat back in this area anyways. This is just for my gut to fit in right through here. So yeah, it looks overall better, I think. And yeah, so now I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Tomorrow we're gonna finish weld that, throw some paint on there, and well, finish weld, make the Zeus fasteners fit again, and then throw some paint on it, and we'll put everything back together. So that's good for tonight. It is now day 2, and it's time to pull that off and weld it up, and then we're gonna make the holes for our Zeus fasteners. So it's been a while since I've done a bumpy truck video, but I can do that now that I got my truck running again. I actually had to take a little break and run to my work and finish MIG welding that piece onto my subframe. I TIG welded everything I could get to that was like visibly easy to get at, but there unfortunately was just on the bottom side, there was just a couple nooks, like one little angle that I couldn't get in there with my TIG torch. So instead of monkeying around changing out tips and different settings or setups on the TIG torch itself, I'm 7 minutes from my work, so I just ran to work and just put the TIG gun in there and went bzz, bzz. I literally spent more time driving to work than actually welding the bottom side of that piece. So headed back to the garage now, and we're gonna put that piece on and start getting the Zeus fasteners all situated again. And just like that, it's back in place. So what I'm going to do now is put the tank shell back on, get it centered how I want it, and then I'm going to mark the holes where I got to drill for those Zeus fasteners, and then drill the holes for the rivets that'll kind of hold all this together. Okay, we got those marked. Now what we're going to do is, I'll get that later. So when these Zeus fasteners are in the tank, they actually will get mounted this direction. So what I'm going to do to make clearance for these rivets, because these will be riveted on, and there'll be a little bit of a bump there, so this can sit down as close as possible. When this gets riveted on, it will get riveted on in this direction here. So I'll put 2 holes for the rivets to grab these. Actually, it'll get riveted this way. And then I'll put 2 holes here on each side, front to back. That'll actually be clearance for the bottom side of these rivets to kind of sit in. There'll be little pockets. So we basically have to put 4 holes in this now. So I went ahead and I got this all drilled up, ready to go. And then I riveted the little spring retainers on the bottom side already, so you can see those rivets there. I said all I had to do was put 4 holes in this thing and we're done. It was 4 per side, so 8 total. So I misspoke. But what I'm going to do now is I went ahead and riveted the Zeus fasteners back onto the tank. Those I only took out of the tank so I had the holes to access to mark these. So I put those back on, new rivets, and then we're going to put this back on the bike and see how everything fits. If everything went to plan, this should just snap in there. We did enough on and off mock-up. I can feel it. There it is. That's it. And our fit all the way around is good there. I think we're good. I think this thing's ready for paint. Let's see how the seat pan fits up to it. Well, she's all back together, and I think, kneeling down here, I think we did pretty dang good. We dropped her down about a ½ inch or so. I probably could have, see the tank shell has a little bit of an arch to it, so it's kind of hard to get that flat piece to sit under it, so it still has a little bit of an arch to it. I probably could have went down maybe another ½ inch or so with that, but from what it was to what it is, that's a ton better. Looks better and it feels better. So we dropped her down about a ½ inch altogether, and I'm actually very happy with that. A little better fit and finish. So now I am going to break it all down again and put some paint on that tonight, and we'll just put it together tomorrow after work. I got to button up all my filters and things, and we'll do it tomorrow. So that, my friends, is going to wrap up another one. Quick little project. Only got 2 days into it of not working super hard. A couple hours after work tonight, a few hours yesterday. We're good. I'm happy with that. Now we got to get going on getting this bike ready to go. It's pretty much actually ready to go. We just got to do a little bit of a pre-race inspection on her. That's got a fresh motor in it that she's only got a little street ride on. And yeah, we'll make sure it's good to go and probably get that to the track maybe end of this week. We'll see. I kind of want to sneak that out. I made a bunch of changes. Maybe you saw my last video when I was at the track. Had a few little things I needed to get sorted out. I fixed a bunch of stuff on that in the tune area. That motor just wants different things than what the old setup did. And the next race we're going to be at is going to be an asphalt starting line, no prep deal. And I happen to want to actually get that out on the street. And a little spot we're going to go try out to see how she does on asphalt. So why not? I can street ride the thing, so let's go do it. Maybe that'll be a video. I don't know. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully it's something fun.